first thing we're going to have is a public hearing on our table report.
No, ma'am, go ahead.
No, you're the.
Okay. All right. So this is our 2023-2024 school year TAPR report, our Texas Academic Performance. This is required. Also some information from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. This is our students that graduated in May of 2024. The Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board tracks them for us. I was sad to see this year. For some reason, A&M wasn't on here. It was last year. I don't know. I swear we had some kiddos that weren't there, but maybe it wasn't enough to register. 83 students were not found. 2 of them were not trackable. And you can see the other institutions that we have had students enrolled in. Purpose of this is to go over our 2023-2024 TAPR report. Our district accountability rating stays at a B. As some of you may know or keep up with, the Texas Education Agency has suspended our ratings due to a lawsuit against the state and TEA stating that the accountability system is flawed and was not given a rate or looked over by an outside rating company, so that we're waiting every day to see if this lawsuit's going to be overturned or what happens there. So our special education determination status is meets requirements as determined by TEA. There's nothing higher than meets requirements, so it's not like we're short one rating that we could possibly be. So what this is going to cover, our STAR performance, our academic growth, progress, our bilingual and English as second language, STAR participation and attendance, graduation and dropout rates, graduation profile, our CCMR related indicators, and other post-secondary indicators, as you can see there. TAPR is a 33-page document that just kind of breaks down our report card as a district, I guess. It gives STAR scores, gives you demographics, special populations, talks about teacher information in terms of how many teachers, teacher years in district, ethnicity of our teachers, of our students, years experience, those types of things. So here's our district information, our student demographics by ethnicity, as you can see. 66.9% Hispanic, 31% white, 1.3% few more races, and my box is a little bit too small, but 0.8% African American. Our student indicators are as follows. The state is going to be in orange, Devine is in blue. At risk, military connected, homeless. Some of the important pieces that we look at quite a bit are the economically disadvantaged and non-eco-dis. As you can see, the state proportionally has a higher percentage of economically disadvantaged students than us, but we're still in the 60s, nearly 62%, I believe. This is a breakdown of our teachers. This is the state of Texas. This is Devine. As you can see, if you can't see, the colors. The dark blue is a beginning teacher. Orange is 1 to 5 years. Green is 6 to 10. Dark green, sorry, this one. Light blue, 11 to 20. Purple is 21 to 30. And then, actually, yeah, this sliver is the over 30 years. See how we compare it to the state? Kind of just try to take the colors and the shapes. We're about even, about the same percentages. Instructional focus. We continue to try to stay focused on our vertical alignment from the lower grades elementary all the way through high school. And our goal essentially is to outperform the state at all levels of our STAR categories. If you remember, three years ago, we put together the Teach Resource System curriculum framework. This is a state approved curriculum framework. What we try to do with this is make sure that the standards are bundled in different groups from our elementary all the way through high school. The standard will be named the same. It just has a progressive increase of difficulty, and it also helps us to clarify. No, that's good. It also helps us to clarify what the TEKs are actually calling for. So here's the data of our TAPR. Each one of these is our STAR tested subject. Devine is in blue, orange is for the state. If you remember, the STAR was redesigned, and basically we're taking a new test. One of the important pieces that the state added was extended response questions, to where instead of kiddos just answering a question by picking the correct, A, B, C, or D, now they have to do sort of like a little short summary whenever they're answering questions. All right. So our EOCs, as you can see, we're edging out the state. Algebra 1 biology, English, we're still making moves, not far behind. Our area, if I remember correctly, Mr. Gonzalez checked our area. We're outperforming the area schools. But again, like I said, we still shoot for the edging out the state. This is Devine to Devine, 2023 to 2024. You can see that most of the time we did slightly better in 22-23, not all the time. However, that's where we talk about the redesigned STAR came into play. We're taking a different type of test. Our teachers are breaking it down, learning how to address the new requirements that the state is putting forward. Same here, 2023 in blue, 2024 in orange. You can see the progress in the same two subject areas. We're outperforming ourselves as last year. Slightly behind here, but not by much. Less than 10 percentage points. This is that was passing the test. That was at approaches level. This is our meets level. This is the one that we've been chasing for some time. We're trying to do a greater level of depth and complexity in terms of our instruction. Our teachers have come a long way in helping develop systems that the instruction in the classroom is phenomenal. I mean, they're obviously our best resource. All of the success that we have whenever it comes to these type of measures are going to be absolutely because of our teachers. Our principals don't do a bad job of looking at it, but it's always the teachers, right? This was our meets at 2023 to 2024. 2023 is in the blue, orange is 2024. You can see we made some good strides as far as all of our EOCs. One of the things that we're looking at is Mr. Eads has kind of taken on a project that Mr. Gonzalez was excited about. All the other principals are coming together with us and collecting data, and we're trying to track a Lexile score, which is going to be something that is reference to how well you read. We're tying our Lexile scores into SAT scores at the high school when you take your junior year and your senior year to get into college. And so we're hoping that that's going to provide some continuity and vertical alignment backwards to help. We're always strong in reading, but we want to be better. If you ever go to a Lions Club meeting, you hear Mr. Stroud talk about how many years in a row we've won literary UIL or something. That I think that's always his claim to fame. All right, attendance, graduation, and dropout rates. As we compare to the state, this is a little bit hard to read, come through. I had to put the wrong number in there because There's definitely not 180%. We average about 93.5% average daily attendance, and that's about 2 percentage points higher than the state average. Our chronic absenteeism, if this dot's lower, that's good. Our dropout rate, this is lower, that's good also. SAT results, this is something that's been a push at the high school for the last year and a half. We're doing an SAT prep course, 4 meetings. 4, yes. Kiddos meet with their SAT coach in their advisory period 4 times. We're hoping to get our scores as far as the district. We want to outshine everyone around us. So I think this is going to be a good push for us. And that is all on the TAPR.
You want to see the report?
But
Do you want to see the TAPR report?
no, I don't think you can look that up online. I'm gonna it's gonna be a mess of numbers. You're not gonna want to see. Did I send the other one?
You sent it to the board.
Okay.
Who's next, Betty?
Yes,
All right, so playing off of what Dr. Grangine presented, those scores translate into looking at specifically the SPED population and how that affects and how we meet compliance. So we get a report called the RDA, which is the results-driven accountability, and this is from the 2024 school year. So it is lag data, not this year's. This is the touchscreen, right?
Yeah, she just go touch it. Huh. There you go.
What about that one?
How do I do that?
Well,
Oh, it's
that one might be definitely it.
That was me.
Okay. Chase the dog. So this is the purpose of the report is it's TEA's monitoring system, specifically for SPED. We're looking, oh my goodness. Okay, we're looking for special education performance. It's looking at compliance and our student outcomes. And this is where we get how it impacts our funding, the interventions, and then continuous improvement for our special ed program. Okay, so to keep it simple, it's broken into 3 domains. The first domain is our academic achievement, and there are 5 indicators there. Second domain is post-secondary readiness, and there are 2 indicators in that group. And then domain 3 is the disproportionate analysis, which is indicators 8 to 18. I thought maybe I had music.
I was like, you're gonna be in trouble because you really got big into it.
Okay, so the academic achievement takes the scores that you saw from that report, and it's measuring our special ed students, and it's looking at participation, proficiency in all STAR and STAR Alt tests. And then it's looking for gaps between students who are receiving services to our general population students and how they perform. The domain 2 is looking for how well we prepare our students with disabilities for life after high school. So are we helping them transition to jobs, programs, support services? It's also looking at the CCMR with SPED students, and then how many we have going into higher ed, workforce, or transition services. Then domain 3 is looking at the compliance with the state and federal laws. So each year, at the end of the year, there's all different types of reports that we have to submit data to. And so are we in compliance with our timelines and everything that we are doing in our SPED department? And are we evaluating kids in a timely fashion? And then they look at the implementation of our IEPs, and then they're also looking at discipline and comparing how many discipline incidents there are in relation to SPED population. So all of that put together, we get what's called a performance level for our district. So a PL 0 is no intervention. That's the best you can get. PL1 is slightly below expectations, and you're in what's called just monitoring. PL2, you're below, and you have to have targeted interventions. and then so on and so forth, with the bottom being intense monitoring by the state, and, you know, we don't want that. So we are, oh, did I put back the other side? Candy, would you please be my man? Okay, so with all of the indicators, there were 14 areas that we rated at a 0, so that was the best. We didn't have any at a level 1. We had 3 areas in the level 2, 3 areas in a level 3, and then there were 2 areas where there wasn't enough information for them to quantify a rating. So, and then there are 10 areas that were report only. And then when that seems like that was way more than the domains and the indicators, but it's every grade you're getting rating for each area. So that's why there's so many. So we came out with a DL1, which was good. So they compiled everything to give us an overall of a DL1. So we were just in that monitoring status. So they're just looking at all of our areas. Now, if we were going to focus in on something to be kind of mindful of, it's this area here, because it's teetering on that line of pushing into the next level. And I'm not sure where we would fall if we had any of these fall over into a 4. Would that raise our DL1? I'm not sure where the cut line is. And that's done each year. It's not like a set number. They look at everything in the state before they make those cut lines. So it's just being mindful of those areas. Can you hit that side? So if I were going to pick an area of concern, when I look through the data, the science,
Go the other one.
sorry, the science star 3 to 8, that level with science, so really just your 5th graders, and then 8th grade. There were only 13 out of the 46 kids that passed. So special ed kids, 46 special ed kids and only 13 passed. Then social studies, there were only 6 out of 17 that passed. And then at the English 1 and 2, the EOCs, there were 6 kids tested in those areas, and there were only 18 SPED students that passed. And then our discipline removals, let's see, we were at 2. So we were hitting, there were 30 incidents, referrals for SPED kids. So that's kind of borderlining in a hot zone of, you know, these pushing us into that next determination level. So I kind of thought, okay, well, what are we going to do different in these areas? And when you look at these groups, this is our highest group of SPED population. So when you go into your board report where I send all those numbers, these are capped out. Like, our staff members are seeing so many kids, we can barely meet the minutes that are there. So to give the support and the attention that's needed is pretty difficult. So I know one of our items that y'all will discuss later, you may have a discussion about that need. So that's our overall RDA work. Are we doing the legislative too now?
Is that next one? Just do-
No, Michael goes next.
And I goes next. Okay.
You're not ready?
Sorry, I just want to be done.
I know.
So this is the annual public reporting on school safety. I'm going to show you guys some our numbers from 23-24 school year, and then talk about some of the things we're putting in place for prevention and stuff that we're doing on the safety side of stuff. So as per the Texas Education Code, requires every district to publish an annual report that includes violent and criminal incidents, as well as non-criminal incidents that you'll see in non-violent reports. So you'll see some of our numbers, types of incidences, and then of course any information for prevention and intervention policies that we have. This is last year's, again, data. These are the violent criminal incidences that are prohibited on or off school property. There was 2 high school. I don't have the details on these incidences, so these are just general numbers. So other campus is 0, and there's 2 classified as assault in Peems. As far as the other criminal or violent regarding firearms, weapons, terroristic threats, we didn't have any of those felonies. This is where you're going to see the majority of the incidents. So these are your violent. But so the 21 code in PEEMS is where the majority of our incidences get filed. That requires ISS, OSS, or placement BAP. So that's why you'll see these can range anywhere from multiple dress code violations to disrespectful of staff to anything that's not considered violent behavior, but requires some kind of discipline action. So most of the campuses just use the 21 code when we're doing discipline. You'll see there are some indicators for e-cigarettes and tobacco possession, marijuana possession or THC, and then other controlled substances. So those are the numbers from 23 and 24. All right, so these are kind of just an overview of some of our district policies that we have for different areas of safety, prevention. We'll talk a little bit more about this in the other slides, but you can kind of see we do have stated policies. These have all been audited recently with the district vulnerability assessment, as well as through the Texas School Safety Center. So these have all been updated, sent to you guys, and approved. As you guys are aware, we do have Safe School online training every year. We push out training to our staff. This list, I don't know if this is even the full list yet, but we do have training all summer for all these customer service, classroom safety, cyberbullying, digital citizenship, online safety, human trafficking, child abuse, recognition, reporting. So all our staff is trained prior to coming to us, and then we provide additional safety training in person once we give them, but they'll come to us with some prerequisite. So I broke down our different prevention strategies and things that we're doing in the district, different areas. So the first thing is obviously our planning. So we in the district, we have a multi-hazard emergency operations plans on file. Those plans include our basic plan, active shooter, our continuity of operations planning, communicable diseases, security, weapon hazmat, cybersecurity. Again, these were just recently audited by TEA through the district vulnerability assessment. And the Texas School Safety Center currently has our basic plan and cybersecurity plan, and we're in the process of finalizing that approval. In addition to that, we do our own self-audit every 3 years. I think Dr. Grangie did the last one. I'll probably do this next one. And then, of course, we have our electronic parent notification policy when any of these plans are activated. The next part of our prevention strategy is our safety and security committees and our SSSP teams, our safe and supportive school teams. So these have to be established within every district. So we have a team at each campus that's responsible for behavioral threat assessments. That was an area that we knew coming into the audit that we kind of needed some more consistency campus to campus. So we were fortunate enough to apply for a behavioral threat assessment pilot through Sentinel that's coming out. Our new safety kind of hub for the state. We were accepted into it. We were like one of 15 campuses. We went live on January 20th. And then I recently went to a training at Region 20, met kind of the BTA guru there, and she's going to come train our staff so we get more, better at that policy and procedure. But really excited about it. We've already done 2 in there. Went to the high school to do one, and then we actually have one on my own campus. Much better system, and it's going to allow us to be consistent and store information from campus to campus as students transfer from my campus to Cammy's campus. That stuff we'll be able to track. So, also, if they leave our district, they'll still, like the new school, will be able to see this stuff. So that was one of the goals for the state, that we weren't losing kids through the cracks. So. Of course, another way to prevent violence is having really good safety facilities. So these are some of the things we've been up to and upgrading in the districts you guys are aware of. Our fencing, keeping controlled access points with Raptor, security cameras, Jesse's almost done upgrading our phone system, so that'll be a really neat thing for us. We did this recently. We had completed our first of the 2 main installs. We basically walked all the campuses, check doors, check windows, make sure everything's functioning properly. We're doing the weekly door inspection still. That's still mandatory for the state. We are reporting those logs in Sentinel. Every campus is doing that. We have established a policy for reporting facility deficiencies. We upgraded our exterior and interior site maps through GB Defense, so those well, they're back there. So that was a really, they did a fantastic job. Now we have those, and all those have been distributed to all our local law enforcement agencies, DPS, Virginia County, Devine PD, Constable's Office, Devine Fire and EMS. So they all have a set. It's also digital, so I gave them all a QR code that they could put in their emergency vehicles. So if they can take out their phone, scan it, pick the campus they're going to, and they'll have a map available to them. And then of course our annual AED inspection. Medical policies and training, so we have our staff do our bleed control policies, our protocols, stop the bleed training for staff and students, CPR training, AED training, CPI, which is our crisis prevention, focused on de-escalation techniques. If you have a violent student, how do we de-escalate that, and how do we handle that? And then of course our opioid antagonist training, so basically storage and delivery of Narcan across the district. We also do unlicensed diabetes training, so some of our office staff, administrators can assist when our nurses aren't available for diabetic students. Law enforcement first responders, of course we have a district SRO, guardian program expanding and training, Knox boxes and elite. So the Knox boxes, those are for fire and EMS. They have access to those. We are in the process of installing law enforcement key boxes, so those have all been ordered. They're in. We're just doing the installation on those, and then those that have a PIN number. So the officer, whoever's responding, whether it's passing DPS trooper or Virginia County, they can call dispatch, and dispatch will give them the code, so they don't need a key to access them. So we don't have to hand out, 100 of our master keys. So it'll be good. Again, we shared all our maps. We're still doing coordinated lockdown drills with our law enforcement. This is something that we need to get to, some tabletop exercises, working on what happens if kind of situations and how those will be responding to. And then we did this earlier, we did campus walks and radio checks to make sure that their emergency radios work on all our campuses. Those are just some campus-specific things that are going on. Different classes, character education, bullying prevention, trainings that we provide our students, and Red Ribbon Week, stuff like that. Going forward, this kind of the stuff that we're doing on the safety side. Again, the BTA pilot is live. We're just going to continue getting better at that and have training coming in. Moving all our document storage over to Sentinel. There's a document repository. We moved a lot of it, but just staying consistent with that and making sure that as we update documents that we're putting in the right place and we store it all in one area. Again, expanding the guardian training program. Facilities upgrades. We've got a big door project that we're working on right now to upgrade and replace some of our doors, make sure they're all functioning properly. Of course, a lot of this will be done with the bond as well. And then this is going to be our bigger, some of our campuses are counterclockwise labeled, and they need to be the other way. So we'll get that done, but we'll probably wait until after the bond work so we don't have to redo everything. And then this one, I'm working with Jesse to upgrade our anonymous reporting tool. This is actually a really big factor for students, even staff, even parents to have an avenue to be able to report bullying, incidences that they see electronically, whether through an app, website. So ours right now, I think, is on the website. There's a form you have to download and print, mail to Dr. Grangi, I don't know. But we're going to upgrade that, and it's going to be a lot better system for our community. And then we're watching the legislative. She's going to give an update, but there's a lot in the House and Senate right now that could affect safety. So we'll keep an eye on that, and as we need to make changes, we will.
Do you, obviously we're talking good about ourselves, but without talking bad about anybody else, you want to mention the meeting that you went to and where you think we are in terms of... Yeah, so I wasn't going to brag. No, so I was at Region 20, it was the safety director's meeting, and so they were talking about Sentinel, about the district vulnerability assessments, about the FBI was there, that was giving a presentation that me and Dr. Grangi already had saw and gone back. And so a lot of the stuff was the other districts really
at the very introductory level of things. Maybe didn't even know it. Maybe they had it at central office, but their administrators weren't using in Sentinel. So we're way past that, and so we're really out in front of this. And so I feel really good where we're at safety-wise. I think that district mobility assessment really kind of shoved us to where we needed to be.
Pushed us in the
Yeah, and but it's good. So we're there now, and now we can really, refine the things we're doing. So we're in a good spot safety-wise. Obviously, there's always work to do, and staying vigilant and keeping our kiddos safe. Yeah. Any other questions, safety?
Good job.
All right.
Okay, next, the legislative update.
And she volunteered to take this on.
Wow. That's awesome. Were you voluntold or volunteered?
I don't mind, it's all right. It's interesting to follow, for sure. So we're in our 89th legislative session. I just picked out some high points for y'all. I'm sure you've heard and you're following things that are important, but we convened on January 14th, and they're scheduled to adjourn to June 2nd. And the Republicans maintain control of both the House and the Senate right now. So these are our committee members for the education committees in the Senate and the House. I do have all the contact information gathered, so we can share that with staff for their use if they want to contact their representatives and voice their concerns.
Oops.
All right. These were the governor's top education priorities. Just I pulled out the teacher pay raise, expand care training, and career training. I'm like, what is
Been a long day.
What is expand the career training and school choice, which we've heard a lot about school choice and vouchers. And then the lieutenant governor selected these items as his priorities, and I just pulled out the ones that had to do with education. So I'll just give you a minute to read through those. Some of them were interesting, to read the motivation behind them. Okay, so these are some hot topics that came out of when we went to midwinter. The Equity Center brought forth some hot topics. So the basic allotment has been changed. Shannon might be able to chime in with better explanation, but it's been the same for the past, it'll be 6 years after this legislative session. And it has remained at $6,160 for the past 6 years. So it hasn't changed at all with inflation or anything like that?
That's just the easiest way to give us money without all the strings attached, is by increasing that number.
So this was one of the areas that they were going to try to lobby towards the basic allotment. And then the next one was school safety that came out in our session that we went to at midwinter, and which Gomez was talking about lots of things that are in discussion right now. And so they stated that statewide, we are approximately short $1 billion. Let's see, the school safety allotment should cover all safety expenses is what they're pushing for. And so it's leaving us $794,000 short that it's not covering what they're giving us.
If it wasn't for those federal safety grants, we wouldn't be able to do the things that Mike was talking
The
about.
HB3 mandated the school resource officer having somebody, so that one of the bills they have is like not having a guardian, but you have to have a law enforcement or some officer. And then another one was anybody with an LTC would be allowed to carry, and the local boards would not be able to create a policy to not let them carry. So there's some from the safety side to watch.
So basically, unfunded mandates that are in place that there's not enough money. Special education funding, of course, statewide, it's falling short of what districts it's costing to educate special education services. And the big push in that area is to move towards a service model where you're getting funding based on the services that are required and not just by the enrollment. So when you have a child that needs more services, you get more funding. The interesting flip side to that is, will we see districts up their identification? So, but that's where the big discussion is in the area of special education funding. And then enrollment-based funding versus the attendance funding. So that's where the big discussions are right now. Would we benefit from enrollment funding versus attendance? Absolutely. So those were kind of the hot topics that they talked about at midwinter. Any others that came up? Okay. And then, let's see, I think I had, of course, y'all heard that Senate Bill 2, the voucher bill passed, 19 to 12 votes. So then also this, and I think it's one of y'all mentioned it, the SB 4, which is the property tax relief that it passed. Shin, is that?
It takes your homestead exemption from
Yes.
$100,000 to $140,000, potentially $150,000 for those who are over 65 or disabled.
And so that will affect what we get. And then I think that might have been the last one. Yeah, I think that was it. So just kind of the highlights of things, and then you're going this week to tomorrow?
Tomorrow for Tassi legislative, Wednesday evening for TREA, and then it's our day at the Capitol to go see our representatives on Thursday. Let us know. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Those good presentations. Okay, now we move to our central office reports, and first I'll talk to Grand Jean.
All right. Board priority 1, student success, tradition of student achievement. We're still working through some curriculum prospects with elementary teachers, elementary principals, intermediate principals. Haven't met with the intermediate teachers yet, but this is the option that TEA's bundled and put together called Texas Bluebonnet Math. Trying to work through that, see if that's an option that suits us as a district. We also have all of our current vacancies posted for Devine ISD. First time, I think we're fully staffed custodial-wise, right? And bus drivers. It's an unusual situation for us. But we're glad, and we've got some really good folks. Still looking for another maintenance worker. If anybody runs across somebody that has experience in that realm that we could use. Won't go over the safety issue. I'm just repeating what Mr. Gomez said. Campus safety walks, daily safety issues are notated. We put those into our work order system. We're addressed. Ms. Candy Stein has started digging into our work order system, kind of compiling some reports that we haven't always used in the past, and see if we have hot spots on campuses that things are causing us issues. There for a little bit, we had a spell of either heaters or air conditioners whenever we'd have the drastic temperature change, but we've got some local companies that have taken really good care of us, and we appreciate those folks. New attorneys handling our stair project. I think we've made more ground in 2 weeks than we have in a while, so we're waiting for a response back from the bonding company. So we're hoping to get that settled and situated before we start any of our construction or demolition at the high school. We'll get into I'll just go into the bond update too. So our bidding process for the bond is now completed. We've got some really good numbers. We're reviewing those, breaking those down, have some information for you on some things that are going to be involved there. Next Monday is our called meeting to talk about the projects and look at some of the funding scenarios that we would have. And so We just want to make sure that we're aligned to the best course of action for all of our projects. And that's it.
Then,
Yes, ma'am. But y'all get to, just so everybody knows in the end that you guys get to go through piece by piece and decide, you know, hey, how do we like this? I mean, I'm pretty sure even down to the color of the paint on the wall.
oh my goodness.
But if you want, we'll only bring you two colors. No, we'll only bring you two colors.
Maroon and gold.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, we have our Director of HR Information, Schneider. Anybody have anything on her report? Okay, thank you. And you saw the STAR EOC report that was in your packet. Okay. Director of Special Education, you have anything else, Ms. Hagar?
No, unless you have questions.
Anything for y'all? Questions? The business office report, Ms. Shannon. And your principal's reports. And I understand we're going to have graduation in August then.
That is me, but they wanted to wait for the classroom.
Yeah.
I thought it was closed.
Okay, now our director's reports. Okay, if there's no questions on any of that, we'll go to our consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the board meetings that we had and the public school week proclamation. You need to switch them out.
No.
Okay. I need a motion on that.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Chris and a second by Carrie to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, raise your right hand. Passes 5-0. Thank you. Now we move to our action items. First action item we have is to consider and take possible action to approve the 2025-2026 instructional calendar. Dr. Benji.
So you had two versions. It's the same version, one just has waiver days on it, one does not. We're just trying to give you an idea of where we would put those. Should DEIC recommend going and getting a waiver for professional development next year? If you remember, that is so that we can do instructional professional development, but the state still gives you credit for the kiddos being in the seats even though they're not at school. So that helps to contribute to our 75,600 minutes required by TEA. After 2 or 3 years ago, there's no longer a set number of school days that you have to meet, it's a set number of minutes. So one of the consideration here is Friday on February the 5th, DEIC met and discussed possible versions of the calendar. Calendars were taken back to their campuses and community members for input. We met again on the 12th of February and kind of merged into one version. They had asked, they said, well, do we want to take 2 versions to the board? I said, let's just make it one. And then if it looks to fit your criteria or the things that you like, we'll pass it. If there's something that anyone feels like we need to address, it can be taken back. It's not an emergency that it has to be approved, but we think we did a pretty good job. That group worked really, really hard. One thing to note is on the white piece of paper that has the comparisons. You know, whenever we started the process, that I had a community member that brought this to me, and she was saying, you know, hey, we need to make sure that we're looking at this. But we talked about trying to keep the kids in the seats in class as close to the same number of days as they were this year. The way that this calendar works out, last year we had students in their seats, or this year, in 2024-25. Kiddos would have been in their seats 168 days. There would have been 172 student days that we would get credit for minutes, but the kids, due to the waiver days, were in their seats 168 days. This proposed calendar that we're showing you now, kiddos with the waiver days, they would be in their seats 4 days less than they were this year. And so I know that was a point that we had been talking about, but we discussed it at length in DEIC. We feel like that is probably the closest that we can get to navigate a compromise on both sides. If we don't have the waiver days, based on this proposed calendar, kiddos would be in their seats actually 2 more days than they were this past year. And that is something that would be discussed in the EIC. The teachers are not gonna be at school any less days. It's just those days that they're working, the kiddos will not be here. And so there's been discussion from a couple of people. It varies, opinion varies there whether or not PD waiver days would want to be. I know that we did come to a pretty good secondary bit of information separate from the calendar in that teachers were able to express the fact that those PD waiver days, there's only specific things that we can do. It's got to be instructionally focused, and teachers have to, we have a list that we created, to make sure you don't stray from that, cutting out stuff to put on the bulletin board and make copies and that kind of stuff. Teachers said that that's too many hours in one day for that to be a focus, so what we had planned on doing, we're definitely putting the cart before the horse on this, but I just felt like it was very productive in the meeting. We would combine if waiver days were decided to move forward, we would combine a waiver day and an in-service day. So waiver day, first half of the morning, second half of the day, teachers can do whatever they want. But you know what I'm saying? Anything to get ready for their classes. And I know that's particularly important at the lower grade levels. But, side note there. So, the calendar that DEIC finalized, want to bring to you guys for approval is one in front of you. We're really adopting the not waiver day calendar. We just wanted to show you what it would look like if waiver days are included for next year.
Because we have to. The waiver days.
They-
Get the waiver days approved, I guess. Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Did anybody have any questions?
Oh.
Oh.
Big O. So we are to the minute, the number of minutes required by the state to go to school. We have weather days in this calendar, and DEIC worked really hard on this, and it wasn't even a contentious point of conversation. We said, if we have to shut down for ice, we have to use a waiver day. There's no ifs, ands, or questions about it. Because what you guys do when we have a nice day is just approve salary for staff, because we have like 5 days built into the calendar to account for weather. But now we don't. So
But we have the bad weather days.
we do have the bad weather days.
As long as we have one.
And we put
There's 2.
them as
Yeah.
the first and third Friday of May. Because what that would really do is, and there was some really, I was excited to be in the DEIC meeting with all the conversation going on, parents and teachers. Where the weather days fell, if we don't use those, then basically you won't come to school on Friday in May. Now, if you had to use one, I don't know which one to pick, the first or the third week, whichever, but we can
That's
decide
up
that
to you.
later. We'll decide that later.
Y'all have any questions on the calendar? I do appreciate all the hard work with the DEIC. They worked very hard on this, and you two got a great job, your staff.
I think they enjoyed it. And they were extremely grateful with the opportunity. I could tell that just by the discussions that the board was giving to them to try to work through this. Because like we said, it's not, the way that it's built and the way the Fridays are put in, they're not working less. They're just going to be at school less days. Because they're going to be planning and doing things on their own.
Questions, could I have a motion then?
Move to adopt the 2025-2026 instructional calendar.
Second.
I have a motion by Chris and a second by Holly to adopt the 25-26 instructional calendar. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Glad that is done. Okay, next, consider and take possible action to adopt an amendment to the District of Innovation Plan.
So one of the things that we discussed last board meeting in terms of the way that this calendar would work, TEA, I know Jerry put it in there, but I like to carry. TEA has a portion of the education code that says teachers must work 187 days of the school year. Our calendars, I'll probably will never have to say that again all year long. Our contracts say 10 months. So our contract wording is okay. But based on the Texas Education Code, teachers required to work 187 days. In the motion that the board put forward to us last meeting when we took this calendar back, the hybrid option to DEIC stated that they will work no less than 177 days. So we have to put in our DOI plan, District of Innovation Plan gives us the option to exempt ourselves from certain Texas education codes. Not law, but codes. So one of the things that we're going to ask is that you let us submit a change to our District of Innovation Plan exempting from code section 21.401, the minimum service required by educators.
Everybody understand that? Do I have a motion then, please?
Move to adopt the amendment to the District of Innovation Plan.
A second.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Chris and a second by Carrie to adopt the amendment to the DOI plan. All in favor? Raise your right hand. Thank you.
They changed it to minutes.
Consider and take possible action to set budget workshop dates. Seems like we just finished that, but it's here.
It's already back. The good and bad thing this year, we're doing the TASB salary survey again. We were hoping to get it done in the fall, but they wait until their surveys are done. And so it's in the spring, so we might not get them back until April, even May. We're submitting it back to them as fast as they ask us and saying, please, please, please get us back earlier. But last year we did start a little bit earlier and had a lot of good discussion. We have some tentative dates on there, if those work. If not, we can make some changes to those.
At this time, I don't know if they, I guess they work. So she's looking at March the 31st, May the 5th, and June the 2nd, if we need that third. You have the calendars in front of you, you know what you're doing on those dates? Of course, we can set these, and if something came up, we could change them if we need to, but it's good to get them on the calendar early so that we're ready for it. And they are on Mondays. If those are agreeable to you, could I have a motion, please?
I'll move to set the following dates for the budget workshop meetings, March 31st, March 31st, May 5th, and June 2nd.
Second, please.
Did I say that? What time?
Get your second. Oh, let's see. Do we need to set? Okay.
At 6:30.
We'll set the 6:30 time, and then, again, we can change if we have to. Did you second?
I can second.
Okay. I didn't know if I heard you or not. Okay, so Renee made the motion to set March the 31st, May 5th, and June 2nd as the budget workshop meetings, all at 6:30, and a second by Carrie. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you.
Thank you.
5-0. Discover and take possible action to adopt a resolution nominating a candidate for the vacancy on the Medina County Appraisal District Board of Directors.
So historically speaking, this is a difficult position to fill for schools. You don't get a lot of a lot of folks that want to volunteer to do this. So 2 meetings ago, I believe, we talked about recommending Dr. Marsh to represent us at the appraisal board. They had an election. Unfortunately, he didn't win. Now there's another vacancy that that has been created, or has been vacated, sorry. So we would like to recommend to nominate Dr. Stuart Marsh again to serve on the appraisal board of directors on a 2-year term.
I'm not sure most of you know, but that would be the only representative from Devine, so we would need to try to make sure we have a representative there.
I'll move to adopt the resolution nominating Dr. Stuart Marsh to fill the vacancy in the Medina County Appraisal District Board of Directors to finish the unexpired term through 2025 as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Renee and a second by Chris to adopt the resolution naming Dr. Marsh. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, thank you. All right, well, consider and take possible action to approve policy update 124.
So as you know, to keep our policy current, the Board of Trustees should consider adopting the local policies that TASB recommends to us. Any change in local policies must be acted upon by the board within an open meeting and where the action is posted. So policy update 124 will address some things with financial ethics, investments, intellectual property, employee standards of conduct, special programs, gifted and talented students, child abuse and neglect, and conduct on school premises. We have the explanatory notes in the board packet. We don't adopt legal, that's law. We just adopt the local policies. So if there was any specific questions that you had on any of those, TASB, if you remember when Jameson was here, he talked about us. We have the TASB version they call A1. That's the everybody has version. There's a couple of ours that we write specific to ourselves, but this is, I would say, the general accepted form of the policy. And so whenever there's an update, they send it directly to us with the recommendations. So our recommendation would be that the board adopt policy 124 as presented.
Do you have any questions on that or on any of the updates that were there? Always a lot to have to look through and read, but they do highlight it for us to show us where the changes are, so that helps. So could I have a motion on that, please? Nobody wants to make motions.
Madam President, I move that the board add, revise, or delete local policies as offered by TASB Policy Service for consideration in accordance to the instruction sheet for TASB localized policy manual update 124 with the recommended change.
A second, please.
Second. Good job.
Okay. And I'm not going to repeat that whole motion, but Carrie made the motion and Ally seconded to make the updates as recommended. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Next, consider and take possible action to approve revisions to the CPC local office management records, management and local student records.
So as you know, local policy, as we just talked about, we have to act and change whenever things are addressed in the district. Those two policies, the office management, CPC local, and records management, and our student records, FL local, specifically have a job title in terms of a person responsible for certain duties under those policies. And with the addition to Ms. Schneider taking human resources on as a title, we have to change her title change, so we have to change it in this policy.
So it's just making the title change.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks. May I have a motion, please?
Move to approve revisions to CPC local and FL local as presented.
Second.
Second.
Okay. A motion by Chris and a second by Ally to approve the revisions to CPC local and FL local. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, thank you. That's 5-0, and that concludes completes our regular business tonight. However, we will be going into a closed session. The time is now 7:32, and we will convene in closed session in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act for the purpose of discussing items listed in the Texas Government Code Section 551.072, 551.074, and 551.082. No final actions, decisions, or votes will be taken while we're in executive session. Thank y'all very much for coming.
Thank you.